Hello, welcome to episode 33. So happy to be with you today. And today, I want to talk to you about something we all want. I can be free of suffering today. I don't want to go to the lesson that speaks to that line. I want to stay with the meaning of that for me and for you. Of course, you're not here to tell me what it means to you, but I think that we all would agree that the absence of suffering is the kind of peace that the Course talks about, the peace beyond all understanding. And if you've been with me before, you know that I'm a non-dual teacher and very committed to living my life in oneness. What does that mean? And what does that mean for the Course? Because the Course is also non-dual. And as I've spoken of before, it's progressive. But the direct path is exactly that, the name of that lesson. I can be free of suffering today. Not when I do some more lessons, not after a year of the workbook, not if I join a text group, not if I go to every single night of ACIM gather. As Dove often says, concepts are one thing, but the lived experience, taking it down into the heart, taking it to our life experiencing, applying it to our brothers and sisters, applying it to our thinking, applying it to our living. It's in the application that we find the direct path, not through the noggin. Noggin can help with opening doors. I won't say it doesn't, but it doesn't take us where we want to go. So what do I want to talk about today? How to get there? Well, there's a place that surprised me that I was guided to talk about, because in the non-dual path, the path that Rupert Spira teaches, the path that Muji teaches, the path of the mystics that I don't need to list them all. They don't talk about the Holy Spirit. And when Rupert was asked, what is the Holy Spirit to you? He said something like, it's the highest place of love within me. And this morning, I was directed back to the Course to see, what does the Course actually say about the Holy Spirit? I'll start a little bit with you, what it says. Jesus is the manifestation of the Holy Spirit, whom he called down upon the earth after he ascended into heaven. Well, that wouldn't be very non-dualistic, because one of the big differences, or it's an apparent difference, is that in the non-dual, there's no praying to something or someone outside of us. He was called down upon the earth in the sense that it was now possible to accept him and to hear his voice. Now we're getting closer to the non-dual. We can hear his voice. So now we don't have to call it Jesus. We actually don't even have to call it the Holy Spirit. When we look for direction for everything, how is that direction experienced? Sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's a thought, sometimes it's a nudge, and sometimes it's a movement like, I'd really like to get up, but I can't because I'm supposed to be right here. Now, later on, it says, the Holy Spirit is described throughout the course as giving us the answer to the separation and bringing the plan of the atonement to us, establishing our particular part in it and showing us exactly what it is. You probably want to know where this is. And right now I'm looking at the purple book, but it's in the clarification of terms under the Holy Spirit. Now that's getting closer and closer to the non-dual. Isn't that exactly what we want? I think everybody, if they understand the expression separation, because I realize that not everybody does. The person on the street, if you say, do you feel separated? They were like, separated? I am separate. There's you and there's me, and what are you talking about? I used that word to someone who's brilliant and had followed Muji for years. I'm not quite sure what she was hearing because she had no idea what I was talking about. So I realized you can't really start with that as a typically understood phrase, separation. But those of us who've been in the course and non-dual students all really, really understand the pain of separation. I think it's brilliant that the course says we have only one problem, and that's that belief in separation. And so that links up with I can be free of suffering today, because suffering equals separation, a belief in separation. So what does that sentence say? The Holy Spirit is described throughout the course as giving us the answer to the separation and bringing the plan of atonement, which is oneness, which is the holy instant, and showing us exactly what it is. Well, to me, that's the non-dual way of living. Asking, asking, asking all day, doing nothing on our own, asking the knower. I think it's just coming to me that in non-dual language, the Holy Spirit is the knower. When we say, you've always been Lynn, or you've always been Dove, no matter how old you are, I've always been Roslyn. Even before I got the name Roslyn, I've been the I. We say that a lot in the non-dual because we want to point to there's a knowing and a knower that we're alive. We don't go to our brain and go, let me see, am I alive? Yeah, I think I am. I see my heart. I feel my heart. Oh, I can. No, we don't do that. We just know. So there's a knower, and the knower is the Holy Spirit. I love that because I feel so connected to the knower. The knower is what has me know that I belong to the universe. I am what Melissa is. You are what your ancestors are, even though they're not with you. You are energy, they are energy, and we get to be in this playground. Apparently that's a Lisa Natoli. It's being attributed to Lisa Natoli. She didn't make it up. I've heard it before, but let's give her credit right now. In our class Tuesday night, some people were talking about Lisa's referencing this world as a playground, which is a lovely way to think about it because it's lighter and it's more playful and fun and less serious. And like Dove always reminds us, you gotta laugh. You gotta remember to laugh because we are just so silly as human beings, taking the world and ourselves so seriously. I have to tell you a little story about myself. I often speak of the oneness and I do meditations that I connect to the oneness, and people know that because my voice expresses it when I go into meditation. But I'm teaching a class Thursday, and the people I'm teaching it with contacted me Tuesday night about the slides. So after 8 o'clock, and they want to edit the slides. They want to do this and that, which is fine. But they wanted the originals. They didn't want that form of the slides. And I'm a morning person, so I'm good all day, but I'm the least my highest self starting about 6 or 7 at night because I get up really early. So it was like, it's Tuesday night. You've had these slides for a whole month. Oh my God, well, no, that's making them wrong. And so I remembered, I'm fine. I just received the anxiety that they sent me in that email. And none of that is real. What is real is that memory, that place where we belong, where all is well, where nothing has actually happened. So I went to bed happily with no cares about the slides, and turns out I can't get the originals. And last night I found out my daughter, who had the originals, was unavailable at a cabin. But I remembered. It's not like a memory where you're searching your mind. It's a presence. That knower is always present. And when I say I remembered, I'm not going through my mind. It's a presence. I'm tapping back into presence, into this now, not the slides for Thursday, not the, how's it going to go? And what do they want? And what do I want? And what are they doing? What am I doing? And is it going to be good? No, it's none of that. It's presence, has no judgment, has no stake in any of it. It is all good. It is all good. Not for my personal good. I really don't feel there is a personal self. It feels like that when I'm back to thinking I'm teaching Thursday and I'm this and I'm that. But no, remembering the oneness does not include an individual. All are welcome, all are allowed, all have a place in this creation of God's world. So I wanted to tell you the end. So I had a good night's sleep, all was well, and I woke up, I couldn't believe it. The anxiety came back as though I just got the email about the slides and it's 8 o'clock. I was like, no, I am not getting up to deal with this in this way. No, thank you. That is the individual personal self. That is a belief in separation. I am not getting up until I get up as presence, until I reconnect with the knower, which of course is Holy Spirit. So language does not matter. Let's not use language to separate us. That's what egos do. That's what separate selves do. But we don't need to do that. So let's see some more about what the Holy Spirit is said to be in the Course. The Holy Spirit is described as the remaining communication link between God and his separated sons. That's paragraph 3 under the Holy Spirit. In order to fulfill this special function, the Holy Spirit has assumed a dual function. He knows, she knows, because she is part of God. She perceives because she was sent to save humanity. She is the great correction principle, the bringer of true perception, the inherent power of the vision of Christ. We are powerful. She is the light in which the forgiven world is perceived. That's oneness, in which the face of Christ alone is seen. That's oneness. She never forgets the Creator or her creation. She never forgets the daughter of God. She never forgets you. And she brings the love of your father and mother and your preciousness to you in an eternal shining that will never be obliterated because God has put it there. So whether you use the word God or awareness or the source or the creator or the oneness, the words don't matter. So let's take that knower that we all have, or let's take the Holy Spirit and ask us to join. It's our connector with the oneness. So take any little thing that's been on your plate, whether you've had a new challenge in this world. Let's bring our worlds together. I do believe that with Christ's vision, we can walk this world and be in it and not of it. More and more, I'm having that experience. How are you doing? Do you have that moment where you have to say, no, that's enough of this? I'm not getting up out of bed metaphorically until I get up with presence, with the Holy Spirit, with whatever it is that's your word, your higher self. Jennifer Hadley uses the expression, your higher holy self, so that you can remember that it's in you. So often in A Course in Miracles worlds, and I've been around this world since the 80s with people, we talk about it often as though Holy Spirit, come to me, Holy Spirit, as though you, the knower, are not already within me. Jesus, help me. No, Jesus is the representative. You don't need to call on anything outside of you. You already have everything. You are lacking nothing. But let's go to that place, first of all, of lack, because many people come to a video with the sensation or the belief that something is wrong and I need a video to help me out. So just guessing that you might be in one of those places and you might not. Remember the last time that you felt upset or stressed, or you raised your voice at someone with impatience, or you felt misunderstood or disrespected. Go back to that number and go back to that situation and give it a number. How upset were you? 0 to 10. If you were a 5, see if that's really true for the time that you were experiencing. Was it a 6 or a 7 if you were really upset and now it's a 5? Go back to that 7 if that's what's true. Now, if you would join me in the truth of what you are, the belief in separation is a belief in problems. The belief in a body is a belief in problems and a belief in separation. I like the water flowing within us as a reminder of the word flow. We can walk this world in flow, being in the world and not of it. I truly love the metaphor of oxygen because we need carbon dioxide and that exchange. We are not separate. We do not control our organs, our systems, and we did not create ourselves. Take another breath, if you will, with the consciousness that breath is something you've been given. Life is something you've been given. And now with our consciousness, with our life, we can now step out of these bodies and use these bodies as cars, as our vehicles of communication. But what are we communicating? First, we have to feel the love that we are before we know how to communicate that love to another. Let's step out of our bodies and into the room, and out of the room and into the air outside of our dwelling, and into the sky and into the stars, and go through the weather and know that we belong. We don't just belong in a body, we belong to everything and everyone. There is only the one being, and that's us. So we don't have to pretend that we're little, that we're not powerful. And we don't have to pretend that we're great and better than somebody else. Yes, we're great, but only in the greatness that everyone is. As Dove says, sameness. There's a lot to be said for the freedom of sameness. How much of our trouble is trying to be special? The light comes from knowing its purity. Light doesn't have to be a better light than another light. It's just light. It glows. It's warm. It's a representative of our holiness. It's the representative of our freedom. And we can come back into our bodies and take another breath of gratitude and exchange with carbon dioxide and thank the plants and the trees for providing what we need for life with that exchange. We can thank heaven. Heaven can be wherever we're in this kind of freedom. Heaven can be in this world if we walk lightly, taking ourselves less seriously because we're not separate individuals. We are one of the one, with the one, forever one. No matter what we think and feel, no matter how we behave or have behaved, this second is new. There's only now and now and now. All is well. I thank you so much for joining me today. Will you check back into that number of your upset and see what your number is now just by joining? And what do you think of that line right now? I can be free of suffering today. We link the knower with the Holy Spirit, with freedom and the oneness. And we are blessed, and we bless others from that blessing, from that knowing, from that love that we know we are, and from our connection with our brothers and sisters and with eternity. See you next time. Bye-bye.